รายการต่อไปนี้เป็นรายการทั่วไปสามารถรับชมได้ทุกวัย
สวัสดีค่ะแฟนรายการพุทธปัญญาภิรมย์ก่อนจะออกพรรษาปีนี้เรามีเทปบันทึกภาพธรรมสัญจรณจังหวัดอุบลราชธานีพร้อมการสนทนาธรรมระหว่างท่านเจ้าอาวาสวัดป่านานาชาติกับคุณก่อศักดิ์ชัยรัศมีศักดิ์มาเปลี่ยนบรรยากาศให้กับทุกท่านกันหน่อยเราไปรับชมกันเลยนะคะช่วงธรรมาภิรมย์ในช่วงเทศกาลเข้าพรรษาที่ผ่านมารายการของเราได้มีโอกาสเดินทางไปบันทึกเทปกิจกรรมธรรมสัญจรที่จังหวัดอุบลราชธานีโดยการนำของคุณก่อศักดิ์ชัยรัศมีศักดิ์ประธานกรรมการบริหารบริษัท CPO จำกัดมหาชนซึ่งสถานที่แรกที่เราจะไปเยี่ยมชมกันก็คือที่วัดป่านานาชาติซึ่งเชื่อว่าน่าจะมีคุณผู้ชมหลายท่านเคยตั้งใจจะไปเยือนเช่นกันนะคะวัดป่านานาชาติตั้งอยู่ที่ตำบลบุงหวายอำเภอวารินชำราบจังหวัดอุบลราชธานีห่างไกลจากอำเภอเมืองไปตามเส้นทางจังหวัดศรีสะเกษประมาณ14กิโลเมตรเป็นอีกหนึ่งสาขาของวัดหนองป่าพงเกิดขึ้นเนื่องจากความศรัทธาของชาวต่างชาติที่มีต่อหลวงพ่อชาสุภัทโทพระอริยสงฆ์รูปสำคัญอีกรูปหนึ่งซึ่งคนไทยจากทั่วสารทิศต่างก็ให้ความเคารพศรัทธาอยู่มากเช่นกัน ผู้ที่มาพักปฏิบัติธรรมที่วัดแห่งนี้ส่วนใหญ่เป็นชาวต่างชาติซึ่งเดินทางมาจากทั่วโลกทั้งชาวยุโรปและเอเชียอาทิอเมริกาอังกฤษเยอรมันสวิตเซอร์แลนด์ฝรั่งเศสอินเดียลาวและชาวไทยเองที่วัดแห่งนี้เจ้าอาวาสและพระภิกษุหลายรูปสามารถพูดภาษาไทยกลางและไทยอีสานได้แต่จะใช้ภาษาอังกฤษเป็นหลักในการสื่อสารแม้แต่การสวดมนต์แปลก็ใช้ภาษาอังกฤษด้วยเช่นกันค่ะ ในวันนี้เราจะขอนำบางส่วนของการสนทนาธรรมระหว่างคุณก่อศักดิ์กับท่านเจ้าอาวาสวัดป่านานาชาติมาให้รับชมกันหน่อยนะคะ
พระอาจารย์ครับลูกชายผมชื่อศรัทธาตั้งแต่ประถมก็ไปอยู่เซี่ยงไฮ้ไม่ได้เรียนภาษาไทยปริญญาตรีก็ไปอยู่ปารีสปริญญาโทก็ไปอยู่ที่ลีอองเพิ่งกลับมาไม่นานก็อยากจะให้พระอาจารย์ช่วยเล่าสิ่งที่ยุโรเปียนสนใจพุทธศาสนาอย่างไรและก็คำถามที่สองคือพวกเราทั้งหมดเนี่ยสนใจมากว่าหลวงปู่ชาอาจจะไม่ทราบท่านสอนท่านหรือไม่แต่หลวงปู่ชาไม่ได้ใช้ภาษาอังกฤษแต่สามารถสอนฝรั่งสอนอย่างไรพวกเราอยากจะให้เล่าเพื่อเราจะได้คลายสงสัย
That was the idea to answer a little bit or give an outline about how Westerners come to ordain in Wat Pa Na Na Chat in English. First of all, I'm happy that all of you have come and with the interest in our monastery. For us it's also uplifting to see many people coming to the monastery. It's not only that the forest monks want to hide away. Actually, it is also inspiring, particularly to see the Buddhist customs in Thailand. Say, for example, people go to a different province. They just don't go sightseeing or to visit friends. They also visit the monastery all the time. So these customs are very inspiring for many people. So most of the Western visitors here, they start with a general idea about Buddhism, about meditation as a way of making the mind peaceful and not having stress in life, relaxing. In many ways they start with that idea of, I want to have a break. I want to have a break from it all, whether it's the job, whether it's studying, whether it's family, work. Sometimes life, as you know, gets quite difficult. And it's one of the beautiful things that in Buddhism, you've got this method of having a break, being with yourself, watching your breath, whether you sit cross-legged or whether you sit on a chair, actually it doesn't matter. But when people come here, they realize, apart from meditation, actually in Theravada Buddhism, there's a huge amount of wisdom that is really applicable to people's lives. So Buddhism as a philosophy is also important for people coming here. Many people have their own philosophy of life, somehow looking for something, searching for something a long time, and many of us have been disappointed with the answers of our old religion, which many times is a belief system where we have to kind of surrender to some supreme being like God and then we discover Buddhism almost a bit like a philosophy, and everybody is looking for some meaning in life, and for many of us it just resonates straight away. We just think that was what I was looking for, because the teachings they're right direct to the point. There's nothing esoteric, nothing hidden, no strange things in there. If you take away some of the parts of popular Buddhism in Thailand, like cults around amulets or whatever, shrines at the side of the road and things like that, we don't teach that here. We teach more or less the basic teachings of the Buddha, as they are in the Pali Canon, as Luang Por Cha has extracted them. Say Luang Por Cha, Luang Pu Man, they had a center, a focus on the essential teachings. Say, for example, the Four Noble Truths or the three characteristics, Anichang, Dukkhang, Anatta, impermanence, suffering or unsatisfactoriness, and Anatta, a sense of nothing belongs to you, everything can't be can be considered your own, even yourself, the so to say self. So it just resonates as a philosophy for many of us and is in line with like a technique that we can apply. For example, like reducing the stress through having a break and having mindfulness, coming back to a sense of understanding what is happening and a sense of like discovering by yourself. That's also one of the key factors that people like in Buddhism. Because like many Thais in Bangkok, many modern Thais, they are like just like in the West, like taught to think by themselves and find a way by yourself, answer problems by yourself, and not just do things by hearsay or by like, you know, blind belief or so. So we want to take our life in our own hands and we want to have our own like wisdom. And Buddhism being a wisdom teaching, it's nothing that somebody else can tell you, you have to be wise. For heaven's sake, be wise now. Like, it has to come by yourself. You can't command somebody else to develop insight. Insight has to come by your own experience. So like there's like the experience of meditation in one way. You come here and you sense the peace and you sense the relaxedness of people around the monastery. Like people generally in Thailand, they don't get stressed out as much as I would say like in Germany or maybe in France, a bit hot-tempered sometimes, you know. And in many societies in the West, there's a sense of you have to be successful, which is fine, but like if it's not balanced, then people start developing really tension inside. And sooner or later, like a midlife crisis or burnout syndrome or things like psychological problems like being slightly depressed, having no direction, they come as a real kind of civilization disease somehow. And then we come to Ubon Ratchathani, we see the villagers. Some of them are still looking after water buffaloes. Some of them are kind of like still farming. Some of them are just happily selling some food at the market, you know, day out and day in, you know, the same. And life seems to go on timelessly, very, very moderate in this part of the country. So we're actually quite impressed and inspired by that. Then many times very impressive for us is to see the generosity of Thai people. Like people are just so much into tambun, giving and welcoming foreigners as well, in the sense of like receiving us like as like people that are coming like with backpacks and touring the beaches in Chiang Mai and then eventually making it to Ubon, to Buddhism. There's no sense of like judging or so. People just very happy to see us come, and that gives the feedback with us. Like we feel happy as well, and we think, hey, why are they so friendly? Why are they kind of generous? And you go on alms round, like our visitors usually follow the monks on Pindapata, on alms round in the morning, and that's usually really touching. You see little children, you see old people, which usually in the West you don't see so much in the old folks' home, in hospital, but here they're living together, you know, like in a village or in town, coming out together, and a sense of respect, you know, that little children are taught, sit down, greet the monks, and it's kind of touching for us as well. It seems to be a kind of warm family atmosphere, which many times in our generation has been lost a bit, like been kind of moving around, trying to prove ourselves, get a degree, and succeed in some profession, business, rise up to certain expectations, either of ourselves or other people. But the sense of family warmth that we see in Thailand, like some of us are actually envying a bit, like that people here have preserved something that in the West sometimes already got lost. Of course, there are also sons of good families coming here, not only runaway people, but like there's something touching about Buddhist culture that we also learn from. So it's philosophy, the Buddha's teachings, very clear. That's one point, definitely. I've studied like a little bit in the texts before. We want to read the sources. We read about the suttas, and they're available in the bookshops. Say you go to France, in the bookshop you get like the teachings of the Buddha in a paperback. You read it, feel inspired. And then you know Buddhist monks meditate, or Buddhists meditate. They live a peaceful life. They live like kind of like a bit aloof from the world. And you want to do that for yourself so you don't get stressed out. And the third one is like, then you discover, oh, there's a whole Buddhist culture around it. People coming to Ubon or to Thailand and they see the gracefulness, how people behave respectfully to the religion, to the monks. You see how generous they support it. And all this is a package which makes it worth for us thinking what we've been doing before maybe is less valuable. We better change our lives. So that's why many of us are here. แต่คำตอบพอดีไหม มีอะไรสงสัยเพิ่มไหม
ท่านเห็นหลวงปู่ชาไหม
No, I must say I wasn't in time for Luang Por Cha. So I'm like actually my teacher and Yom Pai Bun's teacher, Ajahn Jaya Saro, he was the last group of Westerners that were ordained with Luang Por Cha. And Luang Por Cha passed away about 22, 23 years ago, and I've been a monk for 18 years. So I came after Luang Por Cha was away. So I know Luang Por Cha from hearsay and from, the tradition of Luang Por Cha. So I've read a lot of the teachings, and I love to listen to the Dhamma talks, on whether it's in translation or in Thai. Already when I didn't speak much Thai, I just love to listen to the sound and the way of teaching. It's kind of very happy and spontaneous, and you can sense that. So all of us actually right now, we have never met Luang Por Cha. But like what Luang Por Cha left behind is very much a very good system of living the Buddhist life in the monastery. So we consider ourselves like heirs of the Buddha's or Luang Por Cha's teachings in many ways. Like for example, in Wat Nong Pa Pong, still there's like a lot of things that the Sangha practices by his emphasis, what he mentioned. So this kind of living in what we call Kawat Patipat, like the monastery in-house regulations, and the Dhamma Vinaya, that together with the teachings of Ajahn Chah that are really very, very profound, very kind of like they go to the center, to the heart of the Buddha's teachings without any distractions. One feels like they're right to the point and direct. So that like fresh Dhamma, even though Luang Por Cha isn't here anymore, fresh Dhamma plus like the system, and they say the Dhamma and the Vinaya is kind of a good mixture. And like in the times when Luang Por Cha was around, I think also that helped a lot, like that Luang Por Cha had the Kawat Patipat and the Sangha life be the teacher for the Westerners. And some of the Westerners maybe didn't understand the language, like he said, and Ajahn Chah didn't speak English, but like he just lived an exemplary life, as far as I understood, and he had the Sangha do the same. It was like not like centered on him completely, but it had like the whole community like on the marks to practice like correctly, and it must have been very refreshing because he was like pulling it and holding it together. But for some reason, even 20 years plus after Luang Por Cha is gone, the thing still seems alive. And I feel like very much gratitude to Ajahn Chah, even though I haven't met him, like in that sense, like particularly that mixture between, you have like things that are really high dhammas, like talking about like emptiness or non-self or the Four Noble Truths, very high dhammas, like, and he presents them very freshly. Plus the sense of conventionally, like in daily life, you got to watch out what you're doing. You've got to practice according to the rules. You have to be a good member of the Sangha in the conventions. And they say in Thai, samutกับวิมุตติ and Luang Por Chai had both like the aspects of liberation, and the samut is like the rules, the regulations, the vinaya, the korvat, the do's and don'ts, the etiquette, the form. And so that mixture, like I find, is like a bit his heritage. Sometimes you have teachers that stress a lot, like the vinaya, and they don't inspire through like that source from the teachings. And sometimes you have teachers that don't care about the vinaya, but they have a lot of freedom and talk a lot about like the realization of the higher teachings, letting go and being free. And my understanding is that it takes both, and why we're still living together like this, and it's actually still growing, is because like it's the right balance. If you have too much freedom, like all the Westerners would go off sabai and feel fully self-enlightened, don't care about each other, each goes their own way. But as we have the conventions, like the rules and the discipline, we have to surrender to that. Like we have the container and we have the sangha. So one of the things, the heritage of Ajahn Chah is, I would say, the sangha, like the sangha practicing together. And many other teachings, like there, or with other Kruba Ajahns, it's not so much sangha based. Sometimes it's based on faith in the Kruba Ajahn, for example, like a famous teacher in Udon or so, like people go there, hundreds, and there's disciples, also Western disciples, but they didn't learn to live together. And I think Ajahn Chah always stressed that. So with the Sangha, living together, even though the teacher is gone, we can still live, and it's still attractive for many. But I haven't been around for Ajahn Chah, but I think he was a genius in communicating Sangha life. And he was a monk as much as he was a teacher. He was just a normal monk, also pouring concrete, like doing work, and being humble and being like direct, always there, this kind of presence. And we see that still in many of the disciples. These days there's many generation after Luang Por Chah that they still just have that sense of participating with everything and being there, being present. But the genius of Ajahn Chah is very special. So I'm kind of envy all of you that met Ajahn Chah. On the other hand, I say it has to go on somehow. We do the best, and we keep his heritage, like the ways of practice in the Sangha. And I'm very happy actually that we didn't ordain in a cult around a person, but we ordain in a community.
ธรรมสัญจรณจังหวัดอุบลราชธานียังมีส่วนที่น่าสนใจมาให้รับชมกันต่อในวันพรุ่งนี้เช้าเรามาพบกันให้ได้นะคะทางช่อง True Vision แห่งนี้สำหรับวันนี้ปรางและทีมงานพุทธปัญญาพิรมทุกคนต้องขอลาไปแล้วล่ะค่ะธรรมารักษานะคะขอบพระคุณและสวัสดีค่ะ